Have a seat.
I will, because that's something I can do.
Do something.
When talking about shows with a bad art style, a lot of people make the joke, how did this even get picked up? How did anyone think this looked good? I've probably said it before myself too, I forget what I said 10 seconds after it comes out of my mouth. No, really, it's a serious problem. But I think the only cartoon out there where I think that question 100% without a doubt applies to is the Adult Swim show 12 Ounce Mouse. Created by Matt Malaro for Cartoon Network's programming block, 12 Ounce Mouse started airing in 2005 and lasted for 2 seasons, with an extra webisode being released on the internet in 2007. It was received fairly mixed by critics, with some praising how experimental and unique it was, with the rest either being annoyed, confused, or a mix of both. Even now that polarization hasn't faded. I either see this cartoon being slammed online, like being put in a top 10 worst Cartoon Network show list at the #1 spot, while at the same time I'm seeing others discuss how it's the best Adult Swim has to offer. I had no idea this show was even a thing for the longest time. The first time I heard about it was actually from Mr. Enter. I'm ashamed to admit I was a big fan of him as a kid. Down with modern SpongeBob and up with My Little Pony. We lived by that motto. For real though, I did what most people do when they see 12 Ounce Mouse for the first time. Took one glance at the art style and said, yep, it's a pile of crap, no need to look any further than that, and went about my life. It was only recently when I discovered the cartoon had amassed a huge fan base, and was considered a cult classic, with essays written about how deep the show is, and that it's an art house masterpiece. Maybe it's a good thing this cartoon stayed a cult classic, because some of these fans really take the to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ shtick to a whole new level. So seeing all this got me curious. Is there actually more to this show than meets the eye? Let's find out. I just don't get it.
Get what?
This dumb frickin' mouse show, I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Not at all, but go ahead.
Alright, so 12 Ounce Mouse is a show that stars Fitz. He appears to be your average anti-hero, common in these adult animated comedies. He gets drunk, kills people, but his main line of work is doing odd jobs for people given to him by Shark. Not a shark, just Shark. Along with them we've got Fitz's friend Skillet, rectangular businessman, I have to say man, people are gonna get annoyed if I said man, Liquor, stoned peanut cop, among many other side characters who show up throughout the series. So naturally I assumed this show would just take the same basic approach for each episode. Have Fitz, Skillet, and whoever else be sent out in a job where everything goes awry, and hijinks ensue due to the incompetence of our main cast. And I mean, I guess that happens? The first episode is so bizarre, nothing actually happens, it's just a string of events that are just barely connected. Like it starts with Fitz being given a job to take rectangular businessman to a meeting. Instead he takes him to a shoot. After this he blows up the building and uses his ship to rob a bank, then goes to a bar.
Let me get 12 beers.
What do you...
Then the police comes, he gets hit by a car and tries to shoot the shark, but the shark is bulletproof, and then the episode just kinda... It just kind of ends there. The first scene perfectly sets the tone for the rest of the series.
Do something.
I am. I did.
What
It's
did you
already
do?
done.
Just really awkward, deadpan, almost improvisational humor, and long pauses between every sentence like I'm watching a Daft Pina video. Like how would you feel if I talked like this in every video? Yeah, it wouldn't be very entertaining, would it? At first I was ready to call it quits right there and make a video just saying this cartoon sucks. Awful art, awful plot, awful characters. I mean, it was still pretty funny though.
I'm just...
Oh my god!
It's cool, everybody. I'm just drunk.
But something caught me off guard when I watched the second episode. It just kept going. Like, it immediately picked up from where the last one left off. And this is where the series became really interesting to me. What could there possibly be in this that warrants it basically being one long continuous story? So I kept watching. And with each episode, more questions were raised about the characters and the world they inhabit. With Fitz seeing suppressed memories of his lost wife and child, and suddenly the series slowly shifts into being about him trying to find the answers to his past, and potentially what forces are manipulating his world. And it's weird because I kept expecting this massive tonal shift to happen, where suddenly things became super serious and deep, and we learned that the first couple episodes were just a bait and switch. Sort of like BoJack Horseman presenting itself as this generic sitcom, only to slowly turn into a drama that focused on a realistic take of depression and addiction. But that's the thing. The change never really happened. 12 Ounce Mouse subverted my expectations, and then subverted them again, by keeping up this act of being a silly, lowbrow cartoon for stoners. Like, I knew there was something deeper going on, but the show kept trying to make me ignore it. Now, this aspect of the show I really enjoyed. While nowadays there are tons of cartoons that completely rely on the premise that there's more going on while casually spoon-feeding the audience bits and pieces of information, just enough so they can make a couple thousand fan theories on YouTube, this was pretty unheard of for an animated show in 2005. Matt Milaro was inspired by David Lynch films, and wanted to achieve the surrealist tone and atmosphere, although he didn't plan on having any kind of continuity at first. But after starting work on the second episode, he planned out and mapped out characters, and an ending for the series. However, the actual ending wasn't the same as what he originally envisioned. And it's great that Adult Swim was willing to support such a strange concept like this. They've always been more experimental considering they're not their own channel, just being lumped onto Cartoon Network after most kids are asleep. There's less risk involved, meaning they're able to take a lot more chances in what they are, leading to much more weird and less marketable programming. Which is how we've gotten stuff like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Rick and Morty, and of course 12 Ounce Mouse. And oh boy does this show look weird and unmarketable. I think I should talk about probably the most divisive aspect of this series. The art. I don't even want to really call it animation. During his pitch, Matt jokingly stated, production costs would total $5 and some of the people sitting in the copier. I don't think he was joking. This show has the style of being drawn by a 3-year-old, and call me crazy but it kind of works in its favor. Again, the humor is very deadpan. I want to say maybe 40% of every episode is just awkward silence. So pairing that with these crudely drawn designs sort of works really well. It just wouldn't make sense for the show to be animated really well, with intricate backgrounds and designs. And a lot of it reminds me of early YouTube and Newgrounds animation. Like, it reminds me a ton of something like Salad Fingers, except it was broadcasted on television. Saying that though, I can't really blame people at all for not wanting to watch the show because of it. It's really unappealing and not in a charming way like South Park. I'm reminded of Rebel Taxi's video where he says,
"This could be the funniest show in the history of the universe, but alas, we may never know, because I don't want to look at it."
I feel if you like how the show looks, then that's fine. I quite enjoy how it looks actually too. But I can't blame people for being put off by it. So underneath the animation, is it really that great of a show? Well, over time, especially in the second season, it places a much larger focus on Fitz and gang trying to find out the answers to their world, until the finale gives us the big reveal that the show was taking place within a simulation being controlled by Shark and Rectangular Guy.
So what's the matter?
I mean, that's it? All this build up for that? I feel like there's something I'm not seeing here. I keep being told about how deep this show was, and I don't know, I just thought it was kind of boring. And people can say, well, it was a deconstruction of those types of shows. It wasn't meant to be satisfying. And I can't help but think that's a lame excuse. Like, if something is bad on purpose, then it's still bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I really admire this show. I don't think it's bad at all. It's basically just one big movie that was split into 11-minute segments, and at the time that must have been crazy to see unfold and speculate about. But for me at least, I don't know, maybe my brain is just too small to comprehend this show. I keep getting told it's something that some people just get and some don't.
Well, maybe it's up for interpretation, like people can derive whatever they want from it.
I guess so, but I also don't feel satisfied by that. It's like a splatter painting. The viewer can get their own meaning from it and interpret it how they choose, but I interpret it as boring. I started this video expecting to just say, this show looked bad. It also bad. But now I have genuinely no idea what to think. But maybe that's also the point. I mean, the theme song literally has the lyrics, "You don't understand, he don't give a damn." And in the finale we do get the line, "No one even understands this." And I mean, you got that right. I keep seeing people talk about how deep this show is, but rarely do any of them go any further with that. Most I asked just told me it's hard to explain, and to just watch through it a couple more times. And I don't think that's the sign of something I personally could get enjoyment from. And I'm not trying to say the fans of this show are all high IQ flaunting Reddit karma bros. I asked for others' thoughts on Twitter, and a lot of them were very nice and kindly explained their views to me, and I respect that. And I guess that's how I sum up my thoughts on it. It's a cartoon that I respect a lot more than I actually like. It tried something different and it clearly connected with a lot of people. Maybe someday my third eye will be opened and I can see it for how others view it. But for now, it's just not for me. You know what? It's whatever. This show has mentally destroyed me, but I'm just happy it's over.
Yeah, those 3 seasons must have taken a bit to sit through.
What? 3 seasons?
Well, yeah, it was brought back recently for a 3rd season.